Welcome to March's technique class where we're using this So Very Grateful stamp set. I'm going to show you how to make this pop-up card, which is designed to have a little pop-up in it so that when you open it, it will pop open and close. Now mine's broken, so don't worry, yours won't look like that. So I just want to show you what's in your kit. You've got your envelope and you've got your pop-up part of the card, which is done with the Pop and Cuts dies. I hope that you can see that. There we go. I hope that you can see the Pop and Cuts bit. These little rounded edges are the front top of the card, and they're designed to just fit into the little slots like this. Okay, that keeps your card closed. Then I've cut another piece which will fit over the top just like this. I haven't made it the same. You could make them the same and stick them together. It'd be a double layers of card, but I thought it wouldn't nest in very well just here. Okay, so what I want you to do is you've got two pieces. Now I've already done this with the scalloped embossing folder. Yours won't come embossed like that, so you can put any embossing on it that you wish. You've also got these other elements. This part here is for the inside, so that will go here like that, and that part there is for the inside like that. Okay, and then you've got a little pink strip. I actually edged mine with a border punch, the Scallop Dots border punch. I did that in class today while I was watching all the other ladies, so I just thought it's going to look really nice if I just edge that little piece like that. So you must have border punches at home that you're very welcome to use. So I'm now going to just grab some glue. I'm going to put a tiny amount of glue and stick this under the front section just to be drying for a second. I'm actually going to stick that like this. I only want to see half of it, so I'm just getting it in the right place. Okay, that's just going to stick on there like that. Now what I'm going to do is decide what sentiment I want to use. I'm going to put it on here. And I'm going to use the sentiment. What shall I do? Okay, there's really something worth celebrating today. I'm going to put that in there. So I want to get that onto my Stampin' Up imaging sheet, and I'm going to use the early espresso again because I don't want to get stays on it on my imaging sheet. And then I'm going to switch over to the black stays on. So I've used black stays on this whole card, so I'm just going to line this up. I'd recommend you do this at this point, because if you don't, you'll find once you've stuck all the layers together, your card won't lay flat like this for laying a Stampin' Up on or for stamping a sentiment. So do this element now. So black stays on. Little tip when you're using a Stampin' Up, when you're doing it, don't take this hand away once you've stamped, because if it isn't in the right, isn't inky enough and you want to do it again, you can simply re-ink and do it again. But if you've moved your hand away, you'll never get it back in the same place. Okay, so I've got my sentiment on there. Now high on stays on. And I've got this piece here. I'm going to show you what you need to do with your ribbon. So you're going to, I've given you all a length of ribbon. And in the centre of your ribbon, you're going to tie it in a knot around your forefinger. I'm right-handed, so this is my dominant hand, this is my left hand. I'm going to tie it around my forefinger once, like that, in a knot, and then I'm going to tie it again. So I'm going to have a double knot like that. Pull it tight, slide it off, and then you're going to end up with a loop. Okay, then what you can do is get the scissors, cut through the loop at an angle, and then you've got a nice little piece of ribbon that's got the knot already on it, which is very simple to actually lay it on your card. Just put a bit of double-sided tape here and here and you can stick it down. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use some sticky strip because that gives a really good bond, and I'm sticking ribbon down, which is a bit bulky, so I want to give it a good chance to stick down. like that. And then I'll peel the backing off. It's hard to peel off, but it's worth it for the great bond that it gives you. Then that is going to stick. I'm going to get my little bow in the middle. Stick that on the front like that. There we go. So that's this front section. Then what you're going to do is you're going to stick that on top like this. Now don't do what I did and put glue all over here. Lovely, lots and lots of glue smeared all over. Covered it up, and then of course what you'll do is you'll then have glue here, so every time you close your card it will want to stick shut. So what you're going to do is you're going to put glue only on the outside edges. So I'm going to do that and show you now. Gives a good press down, which makes it easier to peel the backing off. Like that. If you want it a little tip, if you now put any kind of glue stick over the top of that, it will, if you get it stuck in the wrong place, it will let you have an element of manoeuvrability. And basically until the glue stick dries and then the one underneath dries, it means that you've got a chance to move it around. And when you're sticking it in a precise size or shape or on something, it's really nice to have a bit of manoeuvrability. So just a tip, you're going to stick these two elements together. What I would prefer that you do is you line up these peaks with each other. So if you can line up the peaks and start there. Otherwise, if you get it stuck in the wrong place, it's really hard. You'll find the score lines won't marry up and then it will want to fold and do all sorts of weird things. So just do the same on both the peaks. Push it right in and get a nice tight bond on your peak. Now I've got a lovely bit of glue on the back here, but I've got a glue adhesive remover. I can get that off. I'm not going to worry about that. That's because I've got it on my grid paper. Let me turn my grid paper over. Even though it's ugly, at least it's not gluey. So I'm just going to get that in place. I'm going to be happy with the line up. Okay, if I'm not happy, because I've put the glue stick, I could pull it off, but I am happy. And if you've got a slight overlap, you can trim that off. Okay, so let's get that. Okay, so that's our card with our pop-up. Okay, what you're going to do now is you're going to glue these two elements together and stick them on the inside of the card like that. Then you're going to get your other elements for the inside. Sorry. And you're going to stamp your sentiment, so whatever it is you want to be on the inside of your card. On this one I've put you, happy birthday. You're going to stamp your sentiment on the white piece there and then stick it onto the pink and then stick it on the inside of the card. I'm not going to do that yet because actually I don't want it to say happy birthday, so I'm going to do that element later. But yours is pre-cut for you using the labels framelets, and that means that you can use a Stampin' Magic to fit your sentiment inside. It's all go here, isn't it? Right, so now what I'm going to show you is how we do the front and the flowers on the inside. You should have some scrap cardstock in your kit, which I've put in your kit. You should have plenty. It's Whisper White cardstock. And I'm just trying to find a piece for me. I gave you plenty. Here we go. So you're going to use your Stampin' Magic and you're going to line up your image in the center of your oval like this. So get it exactly where you want it to be. Okay, and you're going to use Stays on Black. Now, it was just the effect I wanted, the Stays on Black. It just gave a really nice sharp image. So let's just make sure I've got that up the right way. I'm going to ink up my stamp. And remember, don't move your hand off the black handle. Stamp it. Phew, that was a good job because the paper moved, but yeah. So there's my stamping on here. I'm going to repeat on this piece of scrap, and actually all I want is I'm going to be cutting the flowers out. So I just want to stamp it just 2 or 3 times. So if I do it once here, like that, and then one more time, I'm going to, I don't mind if my leaves overlap slightly, so I'm not worried about those leaves, but I've still got my flowers in, and I'm going to try and get one more. Okay, perfect. So I can get this flower and then these flowers, and that should be enough for actually colouring and cutting the card. Just to show you what we did for colouring, I used the markers. We did straight full-on colouring. I used Pink Pirouette, I used Strawberry Slush, and I used Daffodil Delight. And if you're going to put, I don't know if you can see, there's a shiny effect to my flowers. If you're going to put crystal effects on those to give it a shiny effect, it will dull the colour. So you may start colouring and think, I'm just going to use the thick tip of the, I'll start on here, and just colour in the flower. You may think, oh, that's quite bright, that's brighter than I would like. The crystal effects just takes a bit of the colour away, so don't worry about that, okay? So I'm just going to colour in the flower very crudely. Okay, and I'm going to do the same for my other flowers. Now, I'm not worrying if they're badly coloured in at this stage. That's actually Blushing Bride, that isn't Pink Pirouette. That's Pink Pirouette, so it's come out a slightly duskier pink, but it doesn't matter for the purposes of colouring in. So then I'm just going to add a bit of colour in the middle, and then I'm going to add a bit of yellow in the middle. And then one last thing I did was I got my Sahara Sand marker, which is slightly lighter than Crumb Cake, and imagine that this is my light source here coming in at this angle. I then just very crudely just added a little shadow where the shadow would fall if the light was on it. And I haven't done this technique before, but once it was all coloured in, it did look really effective. So don't be frightened to try it. It was only a tiny scrap of card, so you know, it's not the end of the world if it doesn't look great. This is where I'm not great at this technique, if I'm honest, but I quite liked how it came out. I don't think anyone noticed that I'm not great at the technique. So I just actually added, if I show you on this one, actually you can see a bit of shadowing on it there. Then what I did was I coloured this all in, then I coloured the flower elements on here. I cut around these with scissors, keeping the black outline because it was important for me to still see the black outline to make it pop. Then what I did was I laid this one down flat. The flowers I'd cut out, I then put on the top here and then covered them with Crystal Effects. Now Crystal Effects is like Glossy Accents. It's a resin. You can use it as a glue, and it takes ages to dry. So you want to do this at the last thing you do. You may want to get a silicone sheet, cut your flowers out, lay them down, cover them with the Crystal Effects and leave them to dry overnight, and then the next day you know they're completely dry. What I then did, because they've got Crystal Effects on them, I was actually able to bend the petals up slightly to get a rounded effect and stick it on with dimensionals, which is what I did. And then your card will be complete. I did stick some in on the inside, so I stuck those in. I actually left a leaf on there too, so far away and give it colour it in, take your time. This is quite a wow card because it has the pop-up on it, so take your time with your colouring in. And do you know what, I really don't like that Blushing Bride, so I'm just going to flip that over and redo it again, and I'm going to do it in Pink Pirouette and nobody will know. So I'm going to go and do that, so that means you should have everything you need to do your card. When I come to, I will edit these videos and get them a link sent to you all. If you are a member on YouTube, you can favourite these videos and have them in your favourites. Please make sure that you've ticked the box or to say that you don't want to share your favourites, otherwise anybody could have access to these private videos. But it means if you put it in your favourites folder, you will have access to it forever and be able to look back on these videos. So if you just go, I remember Michelle showing me that little technique, you'll be able to look back and look and see how we did it. So thank you so much for purchasing the class, I really appreciate it, and I hope that you come back next month. I'd love to see the cards you make, so please share them with me, and yeah, hope to see you next month. Thanks ladies, bye bye.